What if the most unsettling creatures on Earth were never meant to be found, yet were caught on camera anyway? Across forests, rivers, and frozen ridgelines, figures too tall, too silent, too human have appeared where science insists nothing should exist. They move without haste. They watch without fear. And each time they are filmed, no one believed, until the footage was scanned, slowed, and examined by scientists who were left shocked by what they saw. Are these misidentified animals, elaborate hoaxes, or remnants of something ancient the world has forgotten how to name? And if they know when they are being filmed, what does that say about us as the observers? Tonight, we begin tracing the evidence, one encounter at a time. The footage surfaced after a damaged memory card was scanned during a geological survey along a forgotten ridge at dusk. No wind, no birds, no sound. On camera, a dark, human-like form sits on a granite boulder, caught on the edge of focus, unmoving. Its shoulders are too wide, its head tilts at an angle that resists anatomy. Its stillness feels practiced. When the frames were scanned, scientists were shocked by how the silhouette absorbs light, as if depth collapses around it, something no one believed until it was filmed and stabilized. Archived field logs note fishermen caught similar shapes decades earlier near nearby river bends, always silent, always elevated, always watching. The world explains this as shadow convergence or pareidolia, yet the outline never dissolves, never jitters, never behaves like foliage or animal mass. If the entity chose not to flee when recorded on camera, terrifying as that choice appears, what environmental signal convinced it the observer was no longer a threat? Campfire intrusion. This recording was filmed during a routine forest camp, time-stamped just after midnight, never intended for release. Fire crackles, laughter fades, silence thickens beyond the light. On camera, a towering outline appears between the trees, caught on infrared, its posture almost restrained. Local folklore compares such watchers to a restrained offshoot of the Wendigo myth. Not feeding, not hunting, but waiting, an ancient form paused between roles. The world prefers coincidence, yet the figure advances one controlled step, terrifying because it understands proximity and firelight boundaries. If this presence has learned human behavior well enough to respect the circle of light, who has been studying whom and for how long? Forest mass revealed. This clip leaked from a private wildlife camera network embedded deep within protected forest land. Leaves freeze, light flattens, silence dominates. On camera, a massive human-shaped body advances toward the lens, filmed in monochrome, each movement slow and deliberate. The eyes reflect without blinking. The hair hangs heavy with moisture. The ground compresses beneath each step. When the footage was scanned, scientists were shocked by muscle density and gait cycles that matched no catalog species, despite claims no one believed for years. Reports note fishermen caught distant glimpses of similar forms, while night filming rivers, always scanned, always filmed, never approached. The world labels this misidentification, yet proportions remain terrifyingly consistent across terrain, cameras, and decades. If the forest allowed this form to cross into view on camera, what does that imply about an intelligence that understands when observation is permitted? Riverwalker exposed. This footage was leaked from a handheld device used by hikers documenting ice movement along a shallow forest river in early spring. Cold water, heavy hair, bent shoulders. On camera, a massive human-like form steps through the current, caught on camera with deliberate balance. The arms hang too long, the chest rises too high, the face remains unreadable. When the clip was scanned, scientists were shocked by joint articulation and stride symmetry, inconsistent with costume movement, despite what no one believed for decades after similar material was dismissed as hoax footage that fishermen caught and quietly archived. The world argues perspective distortion, yet the water displacement matches mass calculations beyond human limits, and the posture remains stable while filmed from multiple angles. Thermal absence suggests insulation unknown in primates, while muscle grouping implies an ancient adaptation to cold environments long forgotten. If this being crossed open water without hesitation, terrifying in its certainty, what does that suggest about how long it has known these paths and why it no longer hides when observed? Roadbound figures. This recording was filmed by a dashboard camera during a late afternoon drive along a rural mountain road with no listed wildlife crossings. Pale forms, uneven strides, absolute silence. On camera, multiple human-shaped figures move across asphalt, caught on camera without reacting to the approaching vehicle. Their limbs swing stiffly, their heads remain forward. Their pace never breaks. When analysts scanned the footage, scientists were shocked by synchronized gait patterns that defy panic response, reviving accounts no one believed from fishermen caught describing similar pale entities near dry riverbeds. The world suggests edited footage or costumed actors, yet the figures maintain spacing consistency while filmed in motion, something extremely difficult to fake under real-time conditions. One hypothesis compares their behavior to a forgotten branch of the Wendigo myth, stripped of hunger and reduced to migration instinct, an ancient rule without emotion. If these figures crossed a modern road without acknowledging machines or witnesses, terrifying in their detachment, what invisible boundary were they following instead? Roadside collision. This clip emerged from a weathered dashcam recovered after a minor roadside incident on a frozen forest curve at dawn. Snow dust, sudden motion, breathless impact. On camera, a towering, fur-covered figure lunges into frame, caught on camera as a human body is forced to the ground. The arms strike downward. The posture remains upright. The face never turns. When the footage was scanned, scientists were shocked by reaction speed and force output exceeding known primate limits, echoing reports fishermen caught while night filming isolated roads near rivers. The world insists this is staged aggression, yet tire marks, body displacement, and camera shake align precisely with the timing of the filmed movement. No vocalization occurs, only the sound of contact and retreat, suggesting controlled behavior rather than frenzy. If this intelligence engaged briefly, terrifying in its restraint, and then withdrew without pursuit, what calculation ended the encounter, and how many similar moments were never recorded at all? Face the Forest Remembers. This footage was leaked after a private wildlife archive was scanned following a server failure in a northern evergreen basin at first snow. A pale face, fixed eyes, breath held. On camera, a human-like figure stands unnaturally still, caught on a shallow depth frame where light should scatter, but does not. The hair frames the face evenly. The skin shows no tension. The gaze feels measured. When analysts reviewed the clip, scientists were shocked by facial symmetry and micro-movements inconsistent with masks or known primates, something no one believed possible until it was filmed and stabilized. If this face allowed itself on camera, terrifying in its calm, was it a mistake or an intentional acknowledgement of being seen? The river that parted. This clip surfaced after being scanned from a fog-damaged phone, recovered along a gravel bank during a winter flood survey. Cold water, wide stance, forward, lean. On camera, a massive human-shaped form wades across a fast river, caught on continuous motion without hesitation. The legs brace, the torso angles, the head never searches. When analysts reviewed the frames, scientists were shocked by water displacement and traction control that contradict known biomechanics, echoing incidents no one believed when fishermen caught distant silhouettes while filming night currents. The world points to depth illusion, yet hydrological modeling shows force transfer consistent with extreme mass rather than camera error. No splash panic occurs, only steady progress, as if the current is anticipated rather than resisted. Behavioral inference suggests rote memory and environmental literacy beyond animal instinct. If this figure crossed moving water on camera with such certainty, terrifying in its confidence, what unseen map guided each step beneath the surface? Alpine silence advances. This footage was leaked from a mountaineer's backup drive, scanned after a signal loss during a winter traverse above the tree line. Snow drifts, wind stalls, sound disappears. On camera, a towering human-like form advances along the slope, caught on a static frame where distance should erase detail. The shoulders are broad, the arms hang low, the stride ignores incline. When the sequence was scanned and stabilized, scientists were shocked by balance control and load-bearing posture inconsistent with known mammals, something no one believed until it was filmed under severe weather. Fishermen caught parallel stories decades earlier while crossing frozen passes to reach headwaters, describing a presence that moves as if the mountain yields first. The world explains lens compression, yet parallax markers confirm real depth as the figure approaches without urgency. terrifying in its certainty. No breath plume appears, no slip occurs. The silence remains intact. If this form chose to cross exposed ground on camera rather than remain hidden, what ancient rule of altitude and weather told it the observer was insignificant? Forest charge recorded. This clip surfaced from a dashcam cache filmed at dusk on a secondary road bordering leafless woodland. Branches shudder, breath catches, time compresses. On camera, a dark, human-shaped mass rushes from the trees, caught on motion with a forward lean that overwhelms the frame. The mouth opens, the arms drive, the ground recoils. When analysts scanned the frames, scientists were shocked by acceleration and stride frequency beyond human sprint limits, contradicting what no one believed after similar reports were dismissed. Fishermen caught echoes of this behavior while filming river crossings at night, describing sudden advances that stop short of contact. The world calls it staged, yet tire vibration and shutter roll align precisely with the film's surge, terrifying in its control. No follow-through occurs. The figure checks distance, then halts. If an intelligence can surge on camera and decide restraint in the same instant, what calculation governs that boundary, and who taught it the rules of approach? Muscle of the Pines. This video was filmed by a trail observer during a routine daylight sweep inside managed forest land. Thick chest, dense arms, measured pace. On camera, a massive human-like figure moves between trunks, caught on clear focus without blur or concealment. The musculature resolves, the head stays low, the silence persists. When the footage was scanned, scientists were shocked by muscle striation and mass distribution matching no catalog primate, reviving cases no one believed after years of quiet review. If such anatomy can move openly on camera in daylight, terrifying in its normalcy, what agreement with the forest allows visibility without consequence? Treebound observer. This footage leaked from a hiker's phone after a battery failure beneath an old-growth canopy at dawn. Branches creak, bark flakes, silence tightens. On camera, a massive human-like figure clings to a trunk, caught on with vertical balance that defies weight expectations. The arms wrap inward, the torso presses close, the head remains hidden. When the clip was scanned frame by frame, scientists were shocked by grip spacing and limb torque inconsistent with known primates, evidence no one believed until it was filmed and stabilized. Fishermen caught earlier accounts while repairing nets near forest streams, describing shapes above ground level that watched without sound. The world argues misidentified bears, yet claw marks align too evenly, and branch deflection matches calculated mass rather than animal scrambling. No panic movement appears, no descent follows. The stillness persists. If this presence chose elevation on camera instead of retreat, terrifying in its patience, what advantage does height provide to something that already understands how unseen observation controls the ground below? Night eyes approach. This video emerged from a trail camera network scanned after caretakers noticed corrupted night files deep inside managed forest land, dark trunks, narrow path, lightless air. On camera, a human-shaped mass advances slowly, caught on infrared with eyes reflecting at an unnatural angle. The shoulders roll forward, the steps remain silent, the gaze never breaks. When analysts reviewed the footage, scientists were shocked by eye-shine consistency and motion timing. Unlike deer or predators, reviving cases no one believed despite being filmed repeatedly. Fishermen caught comparable encounters while night filming riverbanks, always reporting eyes first, body second, sound never. The world claims sensor error, yet thermal bleed is absent, and depth markers confirm a solid form moving toward the lens. One hypothesis briefly references the Wendigo, not as myth, but as a behavioral analogy for something ancient, patient, and human adjacent. If this figure allowed itself on camera only at night, terrifying in its precision, what rule of darkness governs when it chooses to be seen? Snowline crosser. This recording was filmed by a long-range observer during a winter survey across a frozen Alpine basin. White ground, distant ridges, absolute quiet. On camera, a dark human-like figure crosses open snow, caught on from afar without hesitation or shelter. The stride stays even, the arms hang low, the head never turns. When the footage was scanned and measured, scientists were shocked by consistent gait length across uneven terrain, contradicting what no one believed after earlier reports were dismissed. Fishermen caught distant confirmations while filming headwaters in winter, noting the same solitary movement through exposed zones. The world suggests scale illusion, yet shadow length and wind drift align perfectly with the film position. No urgency appears, no reaction occurs. The crossing completes. If this being moved through open snow on camera, terrifying in its indifference, what understanding of isolation allows it to ignore exposure that humans instinctively fear? Graveyard disturbance. This footage was leaked after a wildlife camera was scanned during a nocturnal maintenance check in a forest cemetery with no public access. Cold light, unearthed soil, absolute silence. On camera, a massive human-like figure moves beside a wooden cross, caught on with deliberate, ground-focused motion. The arms dig, the shoulders hunch, the head never lifts. When analysts reviewed the frames, scientists were shocked by soil displacement and controlled force inconsistent with scavenging animals, something no one believed until it was filmed and stabilized. Fishermen caught older accounts while repairing nets near forgotten burial grounds along river bends, describing similar disturbances without sound or tracks. The world argues staged provocation, yet scan metadata confirms continuous capture with no edits, and pressure patterns match sustained mass rather than brief impact. No panic occurs, no display follows. The action ends as quietly as it began. If this presence interacted with human markers on camera, terrifying in its restraint, what understanding of death and territory allows it to cross boundaries humans consider sacred? Woodside contact. This recording surfaced from a handheld camera recovered during a missing person search, scanned at the last known coordinates. Brown fur, open hands, shallow breathing. On camera, a towering human-shaped figure stands within meters of a witness, caught on without concealment. The fingers flex, the chest expands, the eyes fix briefly. When the clip was scanned, scientists were shocked by proportional anatomy and skin movement that defy costume mechanics, contradicting what no one believed after years of similar encounters were dismissed. Fishermen caught parallel sightings while filming narrow streams, reporting close proximity without aggression or sound. The world insists misidentification, yet depth cues and occlusion prove the figure occupies real space while filmed. No charge follows, no retreat occurs. The moment suspends. If this intelligence allowed proximity on camera, terrifying in its calm control, what assessment of threat or curiosity governed the distance it chose to maintain? Last location shadow. This footage was scanned from an archive compiled by a volunteer search team, filmed near the final waypoint of a vanished hiker. Still air, broken brush, lingering quiet. On camera, a large human-like silhouette advances through trees, caught on in fragmented light. The gait is steady, the arms swing low, the head tracks the path. When the sequence was scanned, scientists were shocked by directional consistency and terrain memory that challenged random movement, echoing reports no one believed after fishermen caught similar forms while filming remote banks. The world frames coincidence, yet timestamp alignment shows the figure entering the area within minutes of the disappearance. No sound marks the passage, no sign remains. The forest closes. Comparative notes briefly reference Nephilim as a theoretical placeholder for an ancient human-adjacent lineage adapted to avoidance rather than dominance. If this presence moved through the last known location on camera with such certainty, terrifying in its precision, what unseen rule connects disappearance, witness, in a path only one intelligence seems to know? Riverback silhouette. This footage was leaked after a bystander's phone was scanned during a routine riverside walk in late autumn. Wet stones, heavy breath, sudden stillness. On camera, a towering human-shaped figure stands knee-deep in moving water, caught on without reacting to the observer. The back arches, the shoulders rise, the mouth opens upward. When the clip was scanned and stabilized, scientists were shocked by spinal curvature and lung expansion inconsistent with known primates. Evidence no one believed despite decades of similar accounts fishermen caught while filming quiet river bends. The world argues costuming or forced perspective, yet water displacement aligns with extreme mass, and the posture holds under continuous motion while filmed. No attempt to hide occurs, no rush follows. The figure simply exists within the current. Acoustic review reveals no vocalization, only ambient flow, suggesting restraint rather than display. If this being allowed itself on camera in open water, terrifying in its confidence, what calculation told it the river itself was enough cover against human understanding? Canopy below. This video surfaced from an aerial recording scanned after a routine survey flight over a remote rainforest corridor. Brown water, dense canopy, isolated movement. On camera, a tall, human-like form wades along a winding river, caught on from above without altering pace. The stride remains even, the head stays forward, the arms barely swing. When analysts scanned the frames, scientists were shocked by scale consistency across altitude shifts, contradicting what no one believed after fishermen caught similar shapes while filming flooded tributaries. The world suggests floating debris or shadows, yet thermal contrast outlines a warm-bodied figure maintaining balance in uneven current. No attempt at concealment appears, despite total exposure from above. Trajectory analysis shows deliberate path selection, avoiding deeper channels with precision. If this figure crossed open waterways on camera under aerial observation, terrifying in its indifference, what awareness of being watched allowed it to ignore the sky entirely? What you've just seen is not a conclusion, it's a fracture in the story. Each figure, each silent movement, each moment caught on camera does not stand alone. They echo, they overlap, they lead somewhere deeper. Across different locations, different years, different witnesses, the patterns repeat as if these encounters are not accidents, but checkpoints along a path we were never meant to follow. And if one clip unsettled you, understand this. There are more recordings ahead that connect in ways most people never notice. This is where the footage doesn't end. It continues. Subscribe to Mystery Footage Uncovered and stay with us as we move forward from one disturbing encounter to the next, uncovering what hides between frames, beyond explanations, and just outside the edge of belief.